Guys, I've just had the most interesting channel start to come through, and so I've just rushed off to record in the middle of having breakfast because I wanted to share it as it comes in, and I really like to do this. So it was about antiques, and it was about all the things inside you that you used to have in there as a kid, the things that you wanted to do, the things that excite you, the way that you saw the world, that were in you, in your heart, in your blueprint, in part of you. And as you grew up, you shelved those things because people said, grow up, or that's not possible, or poo-pooed all over your idea, or in our family we do this, or you got directed by society or by school or by what your friends were doing or whatever, and you gradually just shelved all of those things and popped them down. But they stayed there within you, and they are still in there. But they're gathering dust, and they're in the corner, and there are other things that have piled on top as well. So they aren't readily accessible to you unless you go looking for them. And so as that thought came to me, I saw a second-hand shop, an antique shop. And I saw somebody walk in and look at all of the relics, and there were like things in there everywhere that were so old. They almost looked like 15th, 16th, 17th century, even before that. Really old water jugs and bowls and all sorts of things. Gold and silver, whatever. But they were tarnished. They weren't shining. They didn't necessarily stand out to the average person. But the people that walked in who had those identical antiques within their soul saw those things differently than the majority of people who didn't pay attention to them. And it lit up something within them, and it triggered off a memory for them of something that they'd shelved, that was antiqued within their self, within their person, within their being. And I just feel like so many things within us that we either feel don't fit, we can't do, we can't be, like that was just crazy, from being a child, gave us so many hints about who we are and who we came here to be. Now, I'm often talking about the outliers, the front runners, the path pavers, the people who come first. And look, it's funny because I've always been fascinated with the underdog, the bottom team, the unseen people, the people that fall below the line that really I see as special and nobody else can see it, or that just once they are seen, truly seen for who they are, can rise up, which is why I got into coaching, because let's face it, sometimes people don't see us. I've had times where I haven't been seen. It's frustrating. If I can give that to somebody else and truly see them and help them to embrace the unseen and get comfortable in that, then I think that's important for our world as it morphs and evolves and shape-shifts into a new way of doing things, right? And I think it comes back to this, to finding those antiques within ourselves. So I want you to think back to some of the things that you did as a child, that you loved as a child, that you cherished as a child, that lit you up and made you feel like the day just went because you were doing whatever you were doing. Now, yes, you can't just dance on the lawn and play roly-polies down the hill all day as a 35-year-old and get by in life, right? But sometimes we forget to live, and we forget to live in the thrill of things, and we forget to have fun, and we forget to do what lights us up, and we shelve that because everyone that we're hanging around with, or that we're with, or we are in a relationship with, or we're in a job with, that doesn't fit within that circle. Now, I'm saying you can't still exist within those things, but you need to honour the stuff within you. So your relics, your antiques, right? You've got to learn to see the value in those. Go and hunt them down again. Sit down, allow yourself some space and time, 10 or 15 minutes here or there. Have that coffee out in the sun. And just sit back and just look for those relics in your mind's eye. Look for those things that are covered up under the dust, in the bottom of your heart, the corner of your heart, the recesses of your mind. those things that are seemingly little, but they gave you so many clues and so many ways to happiness as a child or in your earlier life or even later on in life. You know, I remember when my youngest child, she wanted to go to line dancing, and so I took her, and her brothers and father were off at the same time at karate. And so I took her to line dancing and I decided to stay. And one day I thought, I'd really like to get up and do this. And I got up and it was the most amazing thing. I just loved it. The freedom, the happiness. I just had this stupid smile on my face the whole time I was doing it. And it was amazing. It brought me back to my days of tap dancing as a child and singing and performing as a child and doing all of those things that I love to do, that I'd shelved for lots of different reasons that would probably take a whole video to discuss. But it brought that light back on within me. Now I had to stop. It only lasted probably 6 or 8 weeks that I was able to do it because I lived in a busy household with a shift working husband and 4 busy kids, and it just didn't fit in for me to do it. But I had that little spark again for 6 or 8 weeks in my life where I realised that I had lost that. And so sometimes we can find that when we go back to painting, when we go back to art, when we go back to drawing, when we find time to sing, when we find time to create, because we're all here to create something. And if we all can find what we are here to create, what's blueprinted within us, what lights us up, what we can do for hours and hours and hours that feels like 5 minutes, if we can find that and then activate that within our lives, within everything that we're doing in our day, that if everybody could access that and do that, the whole world would just sing along in a beautiful tune of happiness and joy and a frequency that would be so magnificently high and authentic that, the thought of it just warms my heart. So I just wanted to come on as I was channeling this through and unpacking it, to unpack it here, to try and just spark something in you. If you're feeling like you've lost the fun, you've lost the joy, you're on the hamster wheel, you've forgotten who you are, it's okay. We all forget who we are from time to time. But if you can tune into some of those things, some of those antique relics that are within your heart, within the recesses of your mind that you've just pushed aside because you don't have time or they didn't fit or people said, ooh, maybe it's time to access some of those in your private time. Take that time 2 or 3 times a week to just go and look in on what is there. Notice the theme, notice the joy, remember the joy that you felt, and work out how you can access some of that in your day-to-day life now, in your mundane, in your 9 to 5, in your life now, to bring some of that back. And you'll find that you'll get into your lane of your blueprinted genius, of what you came here for, and life will just feel amazing. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm Suze from Smarting Coaching. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.